Thank you. We may not be on the big screen, but we have a screen to continue. Thank you, Emily. I'm delighted to be here all the way from Ireland. Arrived last week, 2 days to get here. I don't know how you guys travel because it's torture. I've seen a new level that Air Canada goes to with their standby operation, which I'm not too fond of, and my anxiety just went through the roof last week. But I'm delighted to be here. I'm super and I suppose excited that some of the sessions from yesterday mentioned avail with some of the early adopters that we're working with here in Canada. The session, which will probably be cut short for lunch, but we'll try and get through as much as possible, will, I suppose, bring you through that journey of why, or is there an opportunity to use technology? How can we use technology in our, I suppose, environment and situations and learning outcomes that we deliver? And then provide some video case studies of avail actually in use and showing the impact that it has and some of that supported data. I'm hoping to have an interactive session, although I know I have to hook my iPad up to a screen, so I don't know how that will go, but we might just give it a go and see how it works. So, how do we currently work with the individuals, I suppose, that we support, be it in supported employment? Do we use a lot of picture-based prompts? Hands up, you use picture-based prompts? Effective? Most of us are visual learners. Do we use task analysis? Do you use verbal prompts to communicate how to do something? Do you use a lot of, we'll say, demonstrations to show how to do something? Would you model how to do the activity and then expect the person to complete it afterwards? That's what I was doing. And I suppose with the use of pictorial prompts, and with a boy that I was teaching called Liam, who loved his iPad, I said, hang on a minute, can I get into that iPad? Because that's your biggest reinforcer, that's what you use, that's what's engaging for you. Can I be like that virtual assistant, but in an iPad? So then I can still work with you outside of the session. I was like, wow, that would be powerful if I could still deliver those prompts that I was delivering one-to-one, but actually equipped you with the tools that you could now have that outside of that. And then when I questioned that for using technology, and full disclosure, I'm not technically competent myself, so I don't come from a coding background, I don't really understand code, I have a CTO that manages all of that. But I did understand that if we were using technology, we could collect some data. And based on the background of applied behavior analysis, data is what shows that what we're delivering is effective. So I said, okay, let's try and get this data built into the technology. Because I've seen too many reports that note somebody seems to be improving. We've been working on this, maybe for 5 years, but we don't know what the outcome is. Has anyone seen those reports? I actually probably have commented that myself, because how do we provide that data that shows that what we're doing is effective, that there is progress? And I know sometimes it's difficult to do that because it can be just through observation, but I think we should be working towards that. So then I got excited that technology might be able to help me with this. And I was fed up of trying to do reports, trying to show the outcomes, and being like this lady here. So what if? These are the questions, 5 years ago that I questioned when I was doing my master's and my research, not thinking it would come from anything, but I questioned these as in, this is what I'd like to see. New goals. What I found, and I don't think it's just kind of limited to Ireland, but if you have lower expectations, am I up too loud, guys? Do you want to turn that down? No? Good. If you have low expectations for the individuals we work with, or the individuals themselves have low expectations, they're never going to get past that glass ceiling. So, and we're there to empower. We're there to give someone the confidence that you can achieve more, because perhaps they don't have that confidence themselves. So that's really what I wanted Avail for, is that let's have those high expectations. Let's look at what a fulfilling life looks like, and then see, can a technical solution or a solution be the vehicle to achieve that. So streamline data. If we have one, I suppose, way of assessing, of recording, of reporting on goals that everyone can use, then we're kind of going to have a streamlined process. A personal assistant. What if you could be with the person at all times, at their fingertips, in their pocket, throughout their day? And I suppose what I continuously pose a question is that look at the supports that you currently provide someone, or the supports that they might need to live independently. Is there a way that we could provide those prompts digitally? Be it that it's independent living, coping mechanisms, what my day looks like, understanding. There's so many different areas of someone's life that they might need some sort of a support to excel in those areas. So if I have a picture-based schedule, or notes in a paper, or I have a smart device, what do I want to use? What is more engaging for me? And what is my preferred way of learning? And what we find is that the smart devices. Do we agree? In some cases, or most. So discrete learning. When did a person with a disability ever have ownership of their learning or of their prompts? When you think about that, did they ever have or be equipped with the tools that they could self-manage their day and didn't have to rely on a third party for help? That's what we want to change. Empower the individual to have their prompts with them, and that they can control when and if they need it. So, Avail, as we mentioned, my background is in applied behaviour analysis, so I wanted to implement best practice and elements and principles of applied behaviour analysis within the system, that we are delivering that practice on the ground by direct support staff, by therapists, by teachers, by job coaches. So now we're having an evidence-based program from that level and working up with the individual. So it works through a smart device, through an application, and then we have a web portal that collects all this data and manages and, I suppose, reports on it as well. Now, do we have sound? I actually don't think the sound is hooked up to the... Oscar's mouth. Oscar is a boy with autism from Ireland, and in the evening, like any boy, he doesn't really want to brush his teeth. He doesn't want to do his hygiene. He's happy enough with his iPad or watching something on TV. So you can imagine his mum would be like, just go and brush your teeth, come on, it's time for bed. And he's like, no! So every evening this might be the process. So he created a veil and a veil task that helps him with the prompts to brush his teeth. Now what's really significant here is who's in the content. Who is it? He's self-directing himself to do it. So if we compare those examples, should it be the parent? Should it be me? I was his tutor. Or himself? What is most engaging to him? And yes, and this is what you get, self-directed learning. We all use self-directed thoughts or statements to reinforce ourselves and make us kind of, increase our confidence if you were going into an environment. But the self-directed learning is key. Now I'm going to play it because I don't think there's much sound to it.
Toothpaste on toothbrush.
Oscar uses the Avail technology to help him carry out hygiene tasks, such as brushing his teeth.
In the home situation, there's many tasks that parents would like children to be independent doing. Completing hygiene is a big one and a struggle for many parents that I work with then. And Avail provides the platform to make this personalised. So it's pictures in their own environment, it's videos, it's audios of the parent talking over pictures to explain how to do something. And I think this is kind of unique in a way then because it is personalised, and that's what we really wanted to get. That we have done the research for you on the use of Avail, on what is effective, and now you are empowered to implement this. So through repetition, Oscar does not use Avail anymore. He doesn't argue with his mother, and that's a more happier time of the evening than it was before this. Jacob. Jacob is one of 3 kids with autism, with this family in Ireland, and he had difficulty hearing the word no. Nobody kind of likes it, but we all have to live with it because there are situations that we're going to hear no. And I suppose what he was doing was he'd hear no, be it that there was something on TV that he didn't like, or he wanted to go somewhere and it just wasn't an option. It was a busy house. And he would shout to communicate that he's unhappy with this, or he would perhaps maybe throw something in anger. Show me what you do when you feel angry.
Sometimes I might feel angry, but I should not throw things or scream. I need to use my word. I'm angry. I will go to my cooling off chair and take a break. Big breath.
Good boy. Good boy. Taking deep breaths.
I'd be happy.
Then I will be happy again. Well done, Jacob, using your cooling off chair.
So this, pity we didn't have the data around it, but this dramatically reduced his behaviour through repetition. And what we were seeing with Jacob, because we could track on the system, we were seeing how often he accessed this, and he was continuously looking through it because it was so engaging to him, and that was aiding the repetition. And with that, he was identifying. Now sometimes it didn't, everyone's human, and sometimes you're just, your anger is at a certain point, or that he needs to communicate and he misses some of the steps of it. But the majority of the time he was going through the steps, and now he was verbalizing that he was angry before it escalated. This is Kevin. Kevin is 51, has been in employment for 4 years, And when we met Kevin, we said, what do you want to learn, Kevin? Or what do you want to do? He's like, I want to use a pricing gun. So we said, okay. So we created the step-by-step digital prompts of the pricing gun.
Ask staff what to price.
Geraldine, what am I to price?
Kevin, I have air fresheners here for you, and I would like you to price them at €2.
Cost cutter in Listoonan, County Monaghan, is where Kevin Duffy works. The software invented by Lisa Marie Clinton gives him the prompts he needs to complete his work in the shop.
I'm very pleased that they've given me this chance with Avail. I've learnt a new task that if it wasn't for Avail, I wouldn't know how to use a pricing gun or this pad. You turn it on, and when I press this button, it'll tell me another task.
The Department of Social Protection has included this technology in the Workplace Equipment Adaptation Grant.
Well, for the employers, first of all, there's no cost to them. Second of all, it means that they can hire people with disabilities, sure in the knowledge that they can work independently, that they don't have to check and double check every bit of work that they do, and also the employee themselves are confident, they're willing to take on new roles, they're willing to upskill. It's been fantastic. The employers love it, they really do. And again, I'd like to stress, there is no cost to the employer. It's fully paid for by the Department of Social Protection.
Another quick video. This is an example of independent living. So think of someone who wants to live independently, who needs help with managing the house, cooking, daily activities in the home, step-by-step instructions of how to do something. So the content is better when it's created in the environment, but we also have a library of content where you can download and edit. So we have some task analysis that you can use, and organizations like to build their own library that they can share with any of the facilitators or any individuals that they're working with, and then can be personalized. Have we any questions on that? Good? So, digital solution for those with a cognitive related disability. Anyone who might need one-to-one support in completing something by themselves. What we focus on and what we're key on is that it's not enough just to create prompts and create this. We have to look at how do we fade it out. Our goal is that we get someone as independent as possible. I think we've kind of forgot that. Sometimes we tick the box as in, yes, we've provided a program. It's not enough. We need to fade it out. And with fading it out, we help with generalization. We're changing it, and we're challenging people with disabilities. Have we forgot to push and have those expectations? Do we all not like a challenge? People with disabilities do as well. So we'd pull these prompts out to ensure that you're continuously learning through assessments, and then we can report on that as well. So we're really promoting and insisting on that lifelong learning. Shouldn't stop. Sometimes society or services believe that it does stop at the age of 18 or 21. So a few screenshots of what it looks like, the step-by-step instructions, safety icons that will flash, which are more relevant in employment if something was dangerous or that you had to give extra caution to this step. And here's how you create the prompts. So the facilitator or job coach, you will create it with your individual. You will decide what prompt they might need. If it's an action prompt, you might use video. Now a timer. Is there an expectation that that step should be done in a certain period of time? Is there a safety icon? You need to add a new step. You need to continue to create your task analysis. That assessment piece that I said, pull those prompts out. Through observation, you will assess the learner to see what level of assistance they need. This, I think, is unique because I think we've missed that. I think it happens in, school or kind of a one-to-one, but outside of that, it's difficult to report on this. And then we guide you to pull back those prompts. And the system itself will, I suppose, guide and assist you in doing that. And hopefully we see nice data points like this. It's an example of our library, the content that we provide, ranging from coping mechanisms, education, independent living, employment-related tasks. If anyone came to our stand yesterday, you would have seen some of our employment-related kind of content that we offer. Now, I'm going to skip on. So the data that we mentioned, these are reports that the system will generate. Now, a lot of our organizations that we work with will integrate those into their data management system. And makes their life easy because they just simply state, see avail report. If it was relating to outcomes or activities or goals, see avail report, and they'll pull from this report. This is an example of a manager's report where you can see as a whole where you're benefiting from the solution, what independence has been achieved over a certain period of time. Now we have an interactive session. So I need a volunteer. We're going to create a task, make coffee. I'll take it if anyone makes it. So we need, I'm just going to hook the iPad up. If technology works. So I have the materials here, and I want someone to go through the step-by-step instructions of how to make coffee. Oh, thank you. No, that's good, yeah. Oh, good. This is just an example of some of the tasks that we've pulled down from our library. You can see it ranges from the younger age group to more employment tasks, independent living, understanding difficult environments, take medication, and I think we've just some other tasks that we're working on. So, you are working with a learner and they work in a hotel.
Okay.
And they should greet someone with coffee.
Okay.
So somebody wants coffee, how do we make it?
All right.
So, actually, you know what, you do it.
Okay. Okay.
So you're going to add a new task, so the top right hand corner.
Okay. Title.
So we're going to take a picture as a profile, as in I know that's a cup of coffee that we're going to make. So take, yeah. I did hint at this earlier that you're going to participate.
All right. Use button.
So then we're going to assign it to a folder. So you can have work folders, travel training, independent living. So, sign. So we'll say this is home, yeah.
Okay.
And assessment. So you would get an alert to complete an assessment at a certain period of time whenever you think learning may have happened. So we're going to leave that one and then, yeah, create. So then we go into our task analysis. What is step one of make coffee?
So admin step.
No, you're going to create step one.
Right, step one. It would be.
So then you have to think, match the prompts to the steps. What, and you'd know, excuse me, from working with your individual, what level of prompt they might need.
You do again. All right.
So you have an option, depending on the level of prompts, if you want to add an audio step to that. Somebody might need it, they'll have a pictorial prompt, and they'll have an audio. Get coffee cup. Now ideally, if you had the learner doing this, you can imagine how powerful it would be, how engaged they'd be, how motivated they'd be going through those steps. But, so I think we're okay, yeah?
So, yep. So
Add new step.
admin step.
So what would be step 2?
In this case, I guess, grab the thermoses. Or it would be like take the cup to the coffee cup.
It's all personalized, I know, yeah.
So in this case, grab the thermos, and then it would probably be pour the coffee into the cup.
So we're loading at each step, it pushes the prompt up to the system. Our internet seems slow. Oh. Internet just dropped. Okay. So on step 2. So we'll just do one. Oh no. Oh, it's fine. Okay. So we'll do one more step.
Step two
So
would be get
so maybe we'll do a video.
video, sure.
So if we even show that, let's say if it was an action step, a video.
Okay. Well, what if step 2 then was pour the coffee into the cup, and that would be
Perfect. So can you see if we were taking pictures, laminating, putting Velcro, or typing up a list of something, how long that might take? With technology, you can go back and edit and tweak. Perfect. Yeah. So you could add a time. That wouldn't be a timer. Wouldn't be suitable for this step. But you can add a timer and safety icon if you wanted. Be it actually that maybe you have to be careful. That's hot. Yeah. Perfect. Have you a round of applause for volunteer? So I think we've 8 minutes to lunch. So I'm going to quickly go through some of the data collection. Is data as exciting to anyone else as it is to me? Yeah? Okay. So this is an example of suppose, system-generated data that we would hold. So we look at what category the person is focusing on, how long they've spent, the goals that they're working on, how often has it been accessed, scheduled tasks, completed tasks, number of prompts, removal of prompts, assessment, and overall progression. Without doing actually like a full research, clinical trial, it's so hard to get data like this in the area that we work in. And that's why it was so important when we were developing it, that we're tracking all of this, and this is the data points. And it's just being creative about monitoring and looking at the data that the users that's on it, and how do we display this. Do we think this is useful? So we don't say it's completely, say it's viewed. So it's as completed that it went through all the steps. We can't, at the moment, tell that somebody performed each action. But you get an email to say that Joe has took medication at a certain period of time for how long. So at that stage, you'd hope that you can make a judgment call. Does that suit the schedule? Do I need to give them a call? Or is this in line with what they should be doing? She would go through each step. So by going through each step, and then we can measure the time of each step, that if somebody just flicks through it, maybe they just wanted a refresher. But if they're learning a task, it should probably take more than 2 seconds to make the cup of coffee. So the return on investment is something that, there's 2 strong elements of what we do. The return on investment is on the reduction of one-to-one, and the mastery of skills at a faster pace than before. So this is based on another case study that I'll show you, is the reduction in some of the areas that Avail interlinks with. It's another example. So we looked at the hours that how Avail, I suppose, interlinked with the current processes that somebody or an organisation may offer an individual, all different to each service provider and each client. But we really want to, and we're continuing actually with one of our groups that we're working with, eVantage, Community Living, and a few other organisations. We're looking at how does it impact on that one-to-one? What skills are acquired, hopefully at a faster pace than before. So what are the results that we're finding from using digital prompts? Saving on staff ratio, reduction in that one-to-one, less materials, we don't need the picture prompts that we have, freedom for individuals. If I have prompts that shows me how to get on a bus, to use a community setting, or to do certain tasks by myself, what impact does that have on me? New opportunities. It's like Kevin, the guy in the shop. Once he went through, I think it was only twice that he went through the steps of using the pricing gun. He was like, hang on, can I take this home? I want to use it to show me how to use my dishwasher, my washing machine, do my ironing. Where before he never thought that was an opportunity. Enable your service to help more individuals, building capacity. Another example. This is something that we found from work that we're doing with our organizations, the overhead, the reduction in overheads over a period of time, the quality of service delivery increase, because you can imagine you have an intervention using principles of applied behaviour analysis, but also all that data to show that what you're doing is working. In Ireland, they're very strong. They want outcome-based goals. So if they're providing funding, they want to show and see that it's working. And the number of clients. If you're reallocating some of your resources, you may be able to work with those with maybe more additional needs or just more individuals as a whole. These are some of our organisations that we're working with. The company was founded in Ireland. We have customers in Ireland, UK, US, and I'm delighted to say Canada. And I want to endorse, and I know this is being recorded, and I shouldn't, but I do want to endorse Canada as in what you're doing and the work that you're doing, especially in employment, is incredible. And the openness for innovation and finding employment and maintaining employment is so refreshing for me as an outsider to come in and see. So keep up the good work. Thank you. Has anyone any questions? I will be around later, but yes.
Your last comment would suggest that Canada is breaking new field in the area of employment for the disabled. Is that correct assessment of what?
Yes, I think organisations want to do more. I think they're innovative. I think they definitely want to explore how we can, and maybe it's the kind of the geography. How can we remotely and digitally support individuals that we're working with? So maybe that's the reason why we see that you guys are more innovative to explore new opportunities and to, I suppose, provide the best service for people with disabilities in relation to employment.
Well, I would have thought that say UK or Ireland would be a lot more ahead of North America in general. Processes for these things, because the issues are much older. The issues are, it's not new issue.
I think there's a difference in the employers. I think there's more onus on employers in Canada to employ people with disabilities, where we don't have that strong onus in kind of the European countries. And I think it's based on, the feedback that we're getting. We've kind of launched in Canada summer of this year, and organisations want to do more, and they want to hear what's happening, and there's a lot more awareness and requests for looking at how can we digitally and remotely support those. So that's kind of where I'm basing it on, but I think there is a difference, yeah.
So Canada or Canadians can, in fact, go to, let's say, England and start and promote some of these new ideas. Is that what?
So, to share examples of what's being done? Oh, yeah.
Can I have something to share there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Have we any other questions?
Can you comment on the cost it would be for an organization to get involved with?
Yeah. And from yesterday, I had a lot of questions as in, how do we fund this? How is this funded? Who funds it? And I'm like, God, I'm not sure. I have a great man down there that was helping me kind of track this as in options. And I know you've kind of different options. So we're really kind of personalising our package and learning from organisations as in how do we do this. Generally, it would be an organisation of 50 learners, and it's a software as a service solution. So and it's based per learner. So the equivalent of, in Canadian dollars, is around that kind of 400 per user. So we're looking at, and if anyone has any advice or support or guidance that they can provide? Is it best to do it as an organisation or an individual level? Generally, we do organisation, but because of grant aid, that might have to be adjusted. We provide training, be it on site or remote. We have a team here in Ontario, and then we provide onboarding services as well. We also actually can go on site and help create content with the organisation or the employer. So the employer has their library of content, which they find useful, that they can just get started straight away.
I have a question about the prompts. Are any of them time-based? Like, so at 8 o'clock it tells me to get up and get going?
Yeah.
Yes? And
You will get...
Sorry, the other question would be, are they geography-based? So if I'm near the bus stop, it says take the 95A as opposed to the 62B. Not yet.
Oh, how did you know I was going to say that? Not yet. Your prompts is like an alert on your phone. You'd get an alert, bless you. You get an alert and you click in and it'd be step 1. And it would start from there.